Hello, hello, good morning, welcome. I'll give y'all a second to get on in the room, but we're going to go ahead and get moving here pretty quickly. I've got a few things to cover today, and I've also got a kid home from school, so we will see how much we can get accomplished before we are interrupted. But I'm excited to meet with y'all today. Y'all go ahead and pop in the room. Right now I've got a smoothie instead of a hot drink. If y'all have been participating on the group me, you've seen that I am obsessed with these new smoothies. So I'm going to tell you what I put in it today. And I guess I didn't bring all the ingredients, but that's okay. I can tell you. I'm going to sit here and take my vitamins for just a second while we get going. Have you done your chapter yet today? Good morning, Cassandra. Hey, Kay, how are you? I went to shoot you a voice message and check in with you yesterday, and I was driving, and it was a funny scenario. I forgot to tell you. I was going to tell you when I parked, and then I got distracted. Good morning, good morning. Okay, let's knock these things out. I am at the point in my life, I've got a slew of vitamins here to show you guys. I am at the point of my life where I'm like, maybe I'm not sad. Maybe I just forgot to take my vitamins. This time of year sometimes gets me. Do y'all miss the sun? I'm starting to miss the sun quite a bit. But y'all go ahead and come on in the room. I'm Ryan. If you are new here or watching on the replay, I am super excited to be doing this reset and renew for a second year in a row. This year we're doing 40 days. And we've got a group me up if you're trying to stay off of social media and things. And I can also shoot some of the details in here. If you want to catch in for the last portion, we're over halfway done. I'm really excited about that. In our reading, we're on week 4 and day 4 today, chapter 25. It's called No Obvious Benefit. And that's going to tie in really nicely where we're talking about obeying God. But if you are, let's see. Oh, we've got a couple of you guys on live. Hey, girls. Let us know where you're watching from. And if you're watching the replay, go ahead and hashtag replay. One of my favorite things is seeing this intertwining that happens when we're like, oh, I'm in your area, or oh, I thought I was closer than you. That happened with Presley the other day. But what should we talk about first? I kind of want to get out some of these supplements and stuff out of the way while my brain is kind of there. I just got done working out and training clients this morning, and having my smoothie, and I thought I would come on a little bit early, so I didn't let too much time lapse with Daphne home. But smoothies are one of those things that they can be really healthy. They can be hard on your digestion. They can be really tasty. They can be really high in calorie, really low in calorie. But if you are a busy mom, if you are a working mom, if you are running around on the go, sports stuff and things, sometimes it's great to have an option like this. I sometimes go through cycles where meat kind of grosses me out. So this does have dairy in it. You can absolutely make it dairy free if you're dairy free, or do better. Most of us do better on lower amounts of dairy. But it's actually got a very, very small amount of fresh fruit in it. And I've been using this. I got it from Costco. You can get it online. It's just a little powder. It's got fruit and veggies in it, but it's also got a little bit of green tea extract. Those of you who have been around me for any point in time know that we deal with a little neurodivergence here in this family. And so I am constantly looking for things and methods that can help us kind of just activate the frontal lobe a little bit better. As adults, our frontal lobes are fully developed, but sometimes if you have trouble focusing, that frontal lobe needs to kind of be activated. And to help you kind of get through your day-to-day stuff. Now, green tea is actually great for that. The reason why green tea is great for that is because it has L-theanine, which is an amino acid in green tea. That's why it helps you focus. Now, green tea, a serving of that only has, hey Sam, how are you? This is from like Costco or Amazon. I'm not selling anything. I'm terrible selling things. I just want to help. But L-theanine has about, like a cup of green tea has about 40 to 50 milligrams of L-theanine in it. But I discovered I need about 1,000 milligrams every morning. So I bought the cheapest one that I could find on Amazon just to see if it works. And over the last 6 months or so, I've really been enjoying it. I take about 5 of these every morning. I swap out some green tea or something that's not coffee. Coffee can sometimes, if you're not using a really great quality coffee, which I don't, I use like Dunkin' Donuts or something, it is not very good for you. It has some mold, so it can kind of make you a little bit foggy as well. I just enjoy coffee. So good morning, Courtney. How are you? So L-theanine is good if you deal with kind of the run-of-the-mill. Over last summer, did I have you guys read when we were going through the soul? I don't think that I did. Dr. Amen is not necessarily a believer, but he doesn't really contradict things that we believe, if that makes sense. He's a neuroscientist, and he's got a test out there for the 7 types of ADD. And L-theanine is something that helps activate the frontal lobe if you've got issues with focus and things, and it's just kind of run-of-the-mill attention issues. So anyways, I started taking that about 6 months ago. Huge improvement, so much so that my oldest kid takes it as well. So you can use NAC, which is great for breathing and things this time of year. The FDA actually took it off the market during COVID, which was wild. So we went ahead and stocked up. It is actually back on the market now, but NAC is great for any breathing issues, but it'll also help with everything that the L-theanine is doing. I take zinc with the L-theanine at night. It helps me sleep, along with a little bit of magnesium, which we've talked about before. You can use magnesium citrate if it bothers your stomach. You can use, I forget how to say it, magnesium glycosylate, I think is how you say it. Again, I use these super cheap supplements, not the best quality, but I am not a big spender when it comes to supplements. So, this is a great brand right off of Amazon. Jason bought me this. L-metho something. I don't know. It's for focus as well. It smells like broccoli. It's terrible. I add it to my smoothie, which I actually forgot to do today. So we're going to go ahead and do that now and shake it up. There's a couple of these too that are good. They're extraordinarily overpriced. My husband keeps buying me stuff. If you've got like eye twitches and things and it's not a demon, your cortisol might be high. So play with some stuff. Unfortunately, most medical doctors are not very well trained or interested in some supplements and things. And I'm hoping now that this is a very small amount of this. I'm hoping now that some of these kind of fringe issues are coming more to the surface. I know I spent years in and out of doctor's offices and different things for depression and anxiety. And turns out, with the Lord's help, things were much more simple, and they actually didn't require medication. So I always encourage people to get their blood work done. And, so much stuff is online right now. You can look at peer-reviewed studies and things and find something that works for you. So this smells so bad. Whatever this one is really gross. This is how much I trust my husband. This is how much we should trust the Lord. Oh, are you sure I have to do that? We're talking about obeying God this morning. So this is funny that, it's terrible. Like really, really bad. Okay. Try it. See if it. So I've got full fat Greek yogurt in here. I find that the full fat, a client actually turned me on to that. Full fat plain Greek yogurt. The fat does something. So I feel like I'm pretty good with training women, people even, but especially women, training women from the ages of like 18 to whenever perimenopause kicks in. I am finding that has thrown me for a loop as a mom, a person, a trainer. It is a whole nother ball game. So if you are over the age of 40, and some of the stuff can start earlier, I commend you and I hear you, and I'm hoping in another, 5 or 10 years, I feel like I've put enough things into practice that I feel confident of saying, okay, this works. That's one reason why we're doing our steps. That's one reason why I'm encouraging you guys to get outside and things, because that is where the research is right now, as far as getting women back feeling like themselves, longevity, joint health, functional training is really the way forward. So this is why we're kind of pressing into this during our reset and renew, because I know you have questions. And a lot of the content creators out there, a lot of the things that you can purchase, a lot of the people that you run into in the gym settings and things, they are not believers, or if they are believers, they are not spirit-filled believers that understand spiritual warfare in the spirit realm, and they will get you making vision boards and saging and doing all the stuff to like calm your anxiety, meditating on anything but the word of the Lord. They'll tell you that go ahead and get all your yoga classes in. Like I have found that some of this stuff is just not very enjoyable because of all the junk that I'm having to sift through. So we don't want to add any religious practices into our exercises. And unfortunately, the Eastern religions have, because they understand the body so well, Hinduism, Buddhism, they understand the human body so well, it just infiltrates this area. And then you've got a lot of the witchy stuff with the occultic stuff, and they understand all the herbs and things like that. So a lot of the people that you learn from, you've got to sift through a lot of information. So I just want you to be very, very careful and very wise, and think of what the Lord has made and what is being manipulated by people who worship other deities and things that are not of God. Okay, so just be careful once you get in this health realm. And maybe this is why I've just shifted. I felt the Lord asking me to shift so much energy into Women of War instead of Coach Ryan, because I just really want to help you guys and streamline it for you. And again, I'm in a new season of life where my hormones are jacked, and I'm trying to figure this out the Lord's way and use his wisdom. So we are all in this together. So cheers. I totally covered up that, whatever that broccoli was. Okay, so I've got that little red powder that I told you I put in. That's like a red and a green powder. It's got the green tea in it. Don't drink it at night. Full fat Greek yogurt, just a serving of it. And then I have a whey protein. So this is like double dairy. If you don't do well on dairy, not a good look. It's an organic, it's the Garden of Life. Now the Nestle brand actually bought out Garden of Life a few years ago, and I don't trust it like I used to, but so far so good. It's kind of expensive. It's what I give to my kids. It's what I have right now. I was out of the other one. I tend to do things as, should I say cheaply, as thriftily, as I try not to spend a lot of money on all of this because things add up really quick. And, one supplement is said to cure cancer, and fix your kids and do your laundry while you're at it. And I just have found over the years that it's not true. And your consistency matters more than anything else. That sunlight matters more than anything else. That movement of any kind matters more than anything else. Eating God's food, eating God's food, eating things as close to nature as possible is going to get you more benefits than any type of pill that you can take. Okay. So again, we're not anti-doctors. We are not anti-medication. We're not anti-anything. But what we can do is lead with a foot that the Lord has given us with wisdom, and we can really be advocates for ourselves. We cannot depend on doctors or our government or anybody else to be advocates for us. We have to listen to our bodies, which I don't know about you, I wasn't very good at because, just thin was the way to be when I grew up, and no matter the cost. And unfortunately, that taxes our body after a period of time. Now, we are going to get into the Bible study portion, but like I said, I am coming off of training my clients and training myself, and I'm kind of in the zone. So if y'all are okay, I'm just going to continue talking. We are going to go, let's see. Okay, so we're going to talk about weights. I think most of you have done a very good job. I know there's been snow and bad weather and things, but we're shooting for about 10,000 steps a day. Now, if you were getting nowhere near 10,000 steps a day, or you were getting way over 10,000 steps a day, what you can do is add okay, let's start here. If you were getting way under 10,000 steps a day, and you've seen consistently over the last 3 or 4 weeks that say, hey, I am hitting 3,000 steps a day. If I go on a walk, it's not a very long walk. I'm not super into it. I'm getting maybe, another 500 or whatever. So what you can do to challenge yourself and keep your body safe is add on 1,000 to that number. It's just a rough number. Add on 1,000 to it. So what I have found is that we are all or nothing people, and we cannot sustain that very well in our own strength. Some of the spiritual discipline and disciplining our body is we need to ask the Lord, to come in and to help and to prioritize things for us. You're not going to be able to do everything well. So I do want to ask you to do some baby steps as we move forward. The baby steps of adding an extra 1,000 steps. If you're getting way over 10,000, I'll add this in right here. Add about an extra 5,000 steps. It's a couple miles a day. It won't feel crazy, but it'll be a little bit of a push, almost as much as a push as just the extra 1,000 for the person not getting anywhere near 10,000. The main thing that we have to do and understand, and I'm right in this boat too, is that when the seasons change, weather-wise, kids, husbands, jobs, anything else, when the seasons change, where are those moments that we have to spend with the Lord, to work out, right? Do I need to have a quick option for breakfast or lunch or something? Because obviously this isn't, this is getting things in. This is micronutrients and some macros, but this is getting things in. I don't consider this a meal. This is just like bare minimum kind of stuff, right? So when can I go grocery shopping and things? So if you have found that your steps are hard, I want you to first focus on finding the moments, not just putting the pressure on yourself, but find the moments throughout the week, throughout the day that you're like, oh, this is it. Now I've got a 5-year-old, but I have found that when the weather's better, I can bundle up, but when the weather, it's not raining or snowing or something, I can stick her in a stroller. If she's going to be watching her iPad anyways, I don't even care. I shove her in the stroller after school. And if she was going to do 30 minutes on her iPad, she does it in her stroller and she's with me. So these are some real practical tips. I just want you to feel confident moving forward. I've got some plans up my sleeve for spring, to possibly do something strictly health and weight loss related. Because again, the more of the content creators and things that I've seen on YouTube and Instagram and some of these spaces, they just really delve into, Eastern religions and things, and they pull from some of the language. And I don't want that for you. I would rather offer you what I know. So just know that we are building up to something so we can hit it hard this spring together, and I don't have to worry about your joints and things. So is that cool? Is that fair? So let's talk here. If you are brand new to exercise, and we talked about this a little bit last year, but if you're brand new to exercise, that means your joints are brand new to exercise too. Your body doesn't quite know how to breathe as it's going through movements, and you may need to worry about form. So what you don't want to do is add a lot of weight right away. Now, those of you who have been grabbing babies and putting them on the hip while you're balancing on one leg, carrying Costco stuff in, Your core is probably fine. Your joints are probably fine. But if it's been a while since you've had a baby, a couple of years, if it's been a while since you have, I don't know, played softball or whatever you've been doing, if it's been a while, I want you to take yourself seriously, because we lose things very quickly. And it takes normally a couple weeks for like your heart and your cardio to get back to where you think it should be, but it takes longer for your joints, okay? So this 40 days, this 6 weeks that we're doing is really enough time to get your joints, your ligaments, your tendons prepared to start lifting heavier. So that being said, grab a chair and grab you some light weights. Now, if you don't have a gym, if you don't have equipment, if you don't have a bunch of money to spend because you're not sure what you'll need, this is what I have grabbed. I'm using these weights today to really remind you that the 80s are back. No, I'm grabbing these weights today to remind you that it just doesn't matter. I have said before that you can grab water bottles. These are 5 pounds, so we're going to go a little bit heavier today. And I want to show you a few things, just a couple of movements that you can do to get started. When the kids were little and I was cooking, I would always keep a pair of 5, 10, 15-pound weights in the kitchen. It's probably why my arms were better. I was carrying kids and lifting weight while I was cooking. I'm definitely not in the best shape of my life right now, but I can get some things done. Does anybody feel that? Like, I just kind of need to get some things done. I need to be fast. I need to be strong. But I'm also not going to turn down a biscuit. So that's kind of where we're at lately. But, go ahead and grab 5-pound weights wherever you've got them from, and go ahead and grab a chair. Now, when you sit at the edge of a chair, you want to sit at the edge of the chair so it doesn't pinch off your hamstrings. You want to look down and see a straight line, okay? So you've got your hip, your knee, ankle, and toes, all right? You're going to sit up, pretend like there's a book on your head, and see if you can stand without leaning forward, without doing this, okay? So you're just going to plop your weight in your heels, wiggle those toes, and stand straight up and stand straight down. I guess you don't stand down, you sit down. So if you can do that, think about your core. Up and down. Now, when I go all the way up, I don't know if you can tell, I'm not locking out my knee. I'm not locking out my knee. I'm keeping, almost missed the chair. I'm keeping all of the weight in the muscle, okay? I'm keeping all of the weight in the muscle. So this is very easy to do for the lower body. Now, if you've been working out for a long time, you've been working out with weights, then we start to worry about the function in the hips. So a full squat, you're coming all the way down, drop, and pushing up through, okay? Now, as you start to get lower and deeper into that squat and really start to use those rear end muscles and the hamstrings and things, you want to make sure that that knee is tracking over the second toe. You don't want it exactly forward, kind of just open it just a little bit, okay? So if y'all have any questions about that, let me know. Now, for the arms, you've got your weights here. Anytime we are not moving the rest of the body, we're just isolating just right there, just that bicep. So on the days that you do biceps, you can track your workouts however you want to track them. But if you're new, I would suggest hitting one muscle group once a week, okay? If you're new, okay? So down and up, don't go as heavy as you can go. Get about 3 sets of 15 in, something like that. We're going for endurance. We're really trying to build up the ligaments and the tendons here. So now we've got triceps. What's on the other side of the biceps? It's the triceps. So you can grab your other weight. I like to put them together just like this. Lift and drop behind, elbows in, and push it up. When you extend, you really feel that. And you want to exhale on the effort, okay? Pull that in and down. Now, if you have any shoulder injuries, be very careful about taking the weights really far away from the midline, okay? Shoulder stuff, I want you to only do this over the next few weeks, okay? This is your goalpost. Right here, point those weights at me and lift here and down. Biomechanically, this is going to be the safest for the joint, okay? So we got some legs in. You can do squats off the chair. You can do wall sits. You can do full squats. You've got biceps and triceps. And then you can work on your push-ups. But if you have not been doing a lot of them, what I want you to do is just do them from your knees. And you can even start from the floor, like on the floor, and then push yourself off the floor, but don't let your belly sag into the floor. You want to keep everything nice and tight, down and up. Another option is to do it off your countertops while you're cooking dinner, okay? So again, about 3 sets of 15, hit at least one muscle group a week, like hit all your muscle groups a week. So if you look around and be like, okay, I haven't done back, I haven't done biceps, I haven't done abs, that is a great way to start. And then we will be prepared to move forward as a group in the spring. Does that sound good? If y'all are talking, I cannot see any of your comments. I will go back through to make sure that we don't have any questions, okay? So when you're fasting, make sure you've got a good Celtic sea salt. Somebody mentioned in the group me, if you're doing a longer fast than just like a meal or two or 24 hours or whatever, make sure you're also doing bone broth on the front end and the back end. Remember, as we fast, this is not a hunger strike. It is not a diet. We pray while we fast, and we give to the poor while we fast, okay? So make sure that we are kind of keeping it biblical, not kind of keeping it biblical. Make sure we're keeping it biblical, because that is, anybody can fast, witches fast, heathens fast. But as believers, and for this reset and renew, we want to make sure that we are doing a biblical fast. If we are thinking that we're doing a biblical fast, we really want to push in to the Lord's heart on that. What else was I going to say? Okay, so for this week, I am not loving this group study online. For one thing, I cannot, the website's been down the whole time to stream the weekly videos, so I haven't been able to share that. And I don't even know who to reach out about that. But anyways, and so much of this is conversational, but I did want to show you. Let's see, what day are we on? We're on day 25. So this is from last week. But this chart, I'm a real visual person, and I like the black and whiteness of a chart. But fearing God and fearing people. And it gave us 3 categories. So I wanted to be real with you, because I feel like this is where we're at. A lot of you are way beyond me in spiritual maturity. A lot of you have been walking this thing out for a lot longer than I have. And some of y'all are brand new. I believe it benefits everyone when we process together. And so that's what I'm going to do. I believe this age is really calling for an authenticity. And again, maybe it's just my age, but I do believe that the era that we're in, we have to be authentic at all costs. And not to be like out of order and annoying or anything else, but to really show up as who we are. And again, I don't know if it was being a female raised in the South. my family put a lot of effort into the outward appearance and how things were presented. So this book, The Awe of God and the Fear of God, is really coming after that perception. Now, if you've known me in the last 10 years, you're like, what do you mean? You cared how you looked, you cared how you sounded, like there ain't no way. But yes, and it has been kind of an unraveling and a deconstruction in a sense of getting down to how God made me and who I am. And I hope the same for you, because I do believe that is God's best. And I don't think that your people can find you. The people that you really enjoy, I don't believe that they can find you if you're not showing up honestly. And that's important as well. So something the Lord has been talking to me about is evangelism quite a bit recently, is sharing my faith publicly. I had a real burn in me about the first 5 years or so I was saved, and 2020 kind of knocked me on my butt as far as sharing the gospel. I would share the gospel at Kroger, at Home Goods. I was constantly, if somebody had crutches or, they mentioned that their back hurt or whatever, I was constantly touching people and praying for people. And something shifted around 2020, 2021 that made it kind of lost it for me. And it could have been that I was not a mask wearer out in public, and it really just turned people off in general. And so I had gotten kicked out of several stores and whatever, and just trying to learn how to navigate this new way of life. And I don't know that any of us really knew what was going on at the time, especially when it first started hitting. And then we went online in 2021, and certain things were getting accomplished, I felt like, in the spiritual realm. And I was still actively being around people and praying for people and things. And I kept going online a lot and making a lot of content and things. And then there was always this pressure to make more. And somewhere in there, I feel like I lost God's best, right? So the Lord's been talking to me again about what it looks like to minister out in public on a very regular basis. Like if I wasn't ministering to at least 1 to 10 people a day, I would get in my car and leave the house and go. And there was just this drive and this pressure. And now looking back, I am not sure if I felt the push of people or God. And I'm not talking about the people that I was ministering to. They didn't know. But the push maybe was from the leaders that I wanted to impress, that I was like, no, this is what I do every day. This is how I walk this out. And what I've noticed over time, that my selfish ambition and fear of people and what leaders would think stifled the work that the Lord wanted to do in my own heart. I feel that the fear of people went way up. What they would say online or anything else, it went way up. I always kind of have this attitude of, whatever. But at the same time, I wasn't concerned about saying what God wanted me to say. So you guys know, I've put Women of War on the altar many, many times over the last couple of years, making sure I'm still supposed to be doing this. And as of right now, the answer is absolutely. But he had to shift some things in my heart. And I believe the beginning of 2025, we're starting to put some language to it. I loved Jesus, but I didn't necessarily fear God. I feared God in a way that I protected my marriage and my sobriety, but moving forward, I didn't have this big picture and this big awe and reverence of the Lord. One of the chapters, and I just rehashed it again on GroupMe yesterday. It was from, I think, week 3. It was way back. That's part of this problem with this Kindle. I'm skipping around, going forward, skipping around, and then like, okay, we got to do our day, the day that we're honoring. I'll having trouble with that too. The chapters are so short, and I'm used to like reading for a period of time. But it was, oh Jesus, help! What was I just saying? Oh, it was about this minister. Okay, so it was about this minister, and he got caught in all kinds of stuff. Some of it was illegal, some just immoral and unethical, but he got put in prison. And he ran across some of John Bevere's literature, some of his material, and asked him to come to the jail and, pray over him and talk to him and things. And one of the things that this man, who didn't name the man, I'm grateful, kind of curious, but grateful I didn't name the man. He said, I loved Jesus while he was sinning, while he was being unethical and immoral, while he was doing illegal things. He said that he loved Jesus with all his heart, but he had no fear of the Lord. And I think that that was probably my heart back then, where there was this like a lot of zeal and a lot of passion. And the Lord let me run with that for a long time. The Lord let me run with putting my leaders on pedestal. The Lord let me run with carrying a certain persona. But he is not putting up with it in me moving forward. And the more people I talk to, I believe it is the seriousness of the season. It's the soberness of the season. I don't know what's coming, but I do feel like it is going to come without our permission. I was so afraid years ago of missing the revival, missing of what was coming and wanting to be a part of it. Now I know that we won't miss it unless we look at it and we say we don't want it. So the issue of authenticity, and maybe y'all can help hold me accountable as well. I have gotten out of the habit of posting things, and I believe social media is like a street corner. It is evangelism. It is putting things out there. And so you kind of want to talk to the church, especially I live in the Bible Belt. So you kind of want to talk to people that are professing believers, but you also want to leave space for the people that may not, to me at least, the people that may not understand. Y'all see that I very clearly stay away from politics and issues that are divisive. Any type of gotcha kind of thing with other ministers, I just refuse to do it. I do consider social media a street corner evangelism place, and then obviously for grandparents to see the kids and things. But if you too are in a space where you are showing up in front of people, whether it be on social media, a classroom, a street corner, a work environment, this is my challenge to you today, and then we will get into the chapter. It'll be quick. Is that you commit to showing up authentically. I have found that certain environments don't need the bubbly side of my personality. And when I force that out, I put myself in a position that I get burnt out really easily. And so like the next day, have you ever had like a social hangover? Kind of like a sugar hangover, kind of like a food coma. Like it's kind of like, it's just like, oh, that was too much. It's because you were doing too much. Your central nervous system is wrecked. You didn't have all that you gave. And there isn't enough vitamins and supplements to fix that. If you have found that you are consistently, I believe that there's grace for it sometimes if the Lord has called you to it. But if you are consistently pouring from an empty cup, you don't have to continue meeting with everybody all the time, taking every phone call. You can take a minute and get your dishes done and sit down or go for a walk. Or for me, a lot of times it's like I'll put certain things that are for me, I'll put them very, very last to pour into people that are not my immediate family, but maybe some of the people that I met on the street corner, if you will. That's probably a terrible analogy. But my challenge to you today is that if you're sensing a seriousness in your spirit, if you're sensing a quietness in your spirit, is to kind of shove off the nice thing. Shove it off. We can be kind and we can be respectful and honorable, but we're going to have to stop bending over backwards for everyone in our midst. Now, on the flip side, if you're the type of person that just kind of runs a little mean, you run a little introverted, press into the Lord and ask what you can do to love other people. And I will say for me, I run both ways. I run both extremes. And so I have to pray both ways. I have to focus both ways. I have to make sure that I'm not people pleasing in my environment and showing up to entertain people. And I have to make sure I'm not so incredibly focused on my needs and my introversion at the moment that I miss what God may ask me. Do we kick out? Oh my gosh. Now I'm seeing all your comments coming through. For some reason now my issues don't want to put on my clothes to go outside. That transition sometimes is hard. What weight would be good for beginners? If you have done just water bottles for like a week and that feels like nothing, go ahead and grab like 3 to 5 pound weights. I don't think I know you, Haley. You can message me and let me know. So this is what I find a lot of times. Sorry, I'm just now seeing these answers or these questions. What I find a lot of times is that young mothers that have like babies or they've got a very active job, they're actually stronger and more prepared than they think. And then the people that, do a Zumba class a couple times a week, but sit in the car an hour to get to work at an office all day, and go home at night, like their joints actually may not be in as good a shape. That's why we see a lot of injuries, especially this time of year. January and February is a huge time in the fitness industry for injuries. Let's see. It could just be the winter, don't you think, Sam? Because you hike and things all the time. Don't you bike as well? Or is that somebody else? I feel like I see you hiking, which is cool. All right, so the issue of the house is if you've got relationships that are changing, if you've got if you're changing, I think sometimes we have to be really, really honest that it wasn't them. Sometimes it's us. Sometimes it's what God's doing. And sometimes the Lord's just actually kind of catching us up to where we always should have been. And I really hate this concept of like, not everybody can go with you. Like literally, if I see a post on Facebook, I make that face. Like, because, okay, not everybody can go with you, but it's also not all about you. And maybe you changed. Maybe, people go through stuff. So give people grace as relationships start to shift. And I find that this, Michaela, you've seen this before, that not all relationships, you like have to have these conversations about it, but your brain might need permission to shift the relationships in and out depending on your season and theirs. So say say you've got a parent who is, say you've got a parent who is drinking again, right? Drinking again. So there's a long history of patterns and things. And, you're standing on your post, you're praying, you're doing everything that you're supposed to do. But at some point, your kids cannot be around it every evening, or like they can't pick them up from school anymore. Like, you've got to start to make some adjustments. So what you can do kind of mentally is picture this house. So you've got a house, and I don't know if you've ever lived in a neighborhood before, but there are certain neighbors that you just kind of end up doing life with. Your kids may play together. You wave when you're unloading your groceries. You know some of the subtleties of their lives, some of the superficial stuff of their lives, the comings and goings. They would call you maybe to say, hey, did your power go out? Or can I borrow a cup of sugar? Those type of neighbors. But like if your kids play together, those kids would probably go back to their own house to go to the bathroom. They might bring their own bike over to play in your yard. Not a lot of sharing, not a lot of deep interactions going on. You would never necessarily discipline those kids. Hey girl, how are you? Good. You don't have pants on and I'm on live. Can I get you anything? I don't know. You don't know? Can you give me like 10 more minutes and I'll be out? Do whatever you feel like you need to do. I love you. That was Daphne. Sometimes she'll come over and say, hey, the nightgown was not nightgowning. So there are going to be people in your life that are those kind of people. And you may even share a quick prayer request or something with them, but you wouldn't really put yourself out there. May ask them to get the mail or something like that, but it's not even that deep. So you're going to have people in your life that are front porch people. They are people that feel very, very welcome at your house and at your front porch, but they're not going to ask anything necessarily of you. They're not going to know any intimate details of your life, but they may know your schedule. Okay. Those are people I would consider my social media friends. Okay. What I show is what you see. So any monitoring spirits, any people, yes. Oh, you have pants on now. You need a ball? Okay, go ahead. Get whatever you need. You need my exercise ball. Okay. I actually had that here. Okay, take it out. You can take it to the living room. I actually had that exercise ball and foam roller out to show you guys because those are a couple of things that I think are amazing. I use them with my clients. I use them a lot myself. But if you don't know what you're doing with them, like save your money. You don't need them. And if you do have one and you have some questions, you can for sure reach out. But those are like that ball is great. But like, don't do something stupid on it and get injured because that happens all the time. And the foam roller is just confusing. So, anyways, hello. Listening to you can be alive. Satan to keep you from going out. Oh, maybe so. Because you were going out in groups of people. Oh, that's really good. So my front porch people, I consider social media people or the actual people that are around me that feel very welcome to come and play with my kids in the front yard. You show them very little of your life and you show them what you want to show them. But they might notice if you don't show up. So I had quite a few people over the last year or so. They're like, oh, I haven't seen you on social media very much. Some people were actually interested in my life. Some people were checking out for themselves or for other people who hadn't spoken to me in a while. Catch me? So that's kind of one layer of relationship. Now, if someone is abusive, if someone takes you on a journey that you didn't ask to go on, they can get moved out to the front porch with or without a huge conversation. You can still love them. You can still be kind. You can still do life with these people in a sense, but they don't have to have a big grip on your heart. And maybe we did talk about this before, maybe around like the holidays and things, because sometimes family stuff can be complicated. I hope it's not for you, but sometimes it can be complicated. This rolls off the tip of my tongue because I have lived it, and we have to live in forgiveness, and we can't guard our hearts in a way that it makes our hearts hard. But sometimes strategy helps. I know strategies helped me a lot. So I don't, lay in bed for 3 days because I got my feelings hurt. Some of us are extraordinarily, sensitive and feelers. And I'm definitely one of those types of personalities that if I don't have a strategy and a plan and a communion with God, that people hurt my feelings, like people that I love dearly, they can hurt my feelings. So the next type of person would be like a living room person. And I don't know if you've got a formal living room or a place that you would invite someone into if they wanted prayer. If they were like, say you had a play date with some of your kids, maybe you have a basket of toys for those children. You'd have maybe some tea set up or coffee made, a little snack out. These are the people that feel very, very welcome in your house, but you probably clean up first, go and scrub the toilet off if they need to use the restroom. They may not even use it. They may just stay in this one space. But these are people you're a little bit more intimate with, but you still are a little bit guarded with. These are people you may minister to. And the people that you may minister to, inviting them into your home, I think is such a special way to get to know someone because, there's family pictures on the wall. There's books on the bookshelves. You good? Oh, and the foam roller? And more earphones. Okay, I got you. All right, set up something for us to do. I'll be out in a second. Well, not a second, about 5 minutes. And so these people get to know you on a different level. But again, it's not just a free-for-all. It's not a dump. They don't come over whenever they want. They are invited into your space. And I think those relationships are incredibly special. I think we should have a lot of these two types of relationships. But we have to know what types of relationships and what type of people that we are dealing with. Now, for me, a lot of times I've had front porch people that turned into living room people that turned into, hear me, kitchen and backyard people. Now, if you're invited into my kitchen and my backyard, you're invited pretty much anytime. Now, the people that come over anytime also text first. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you're invited anytime. I will tell you to make yourself at home. I show you where the snack cabinet is for the kids. Make sure you know where all the restrooms are. You will take your shoes off, you might help me cook or go grab one of my dogs or, you know what I'm saying? Like, I may even have a pile of diapers. If I know you've got a baby, I may babysit your kids. These are people that we are doing life with, that you share things with. This iron sharpenings iron with a lot of these people, not maybe all of them because you may be at different places, but you're doing life with people. You're sharing meals with these people. You are, and I hope a lot of these people are your family members. That's when it's really cool. We had our cousins come over last week, and there have been some different nuances with the family dynamics and things. And it's just so nice to have at least just two of the cousins together. I guess it was like 5 of them, but 2 of them came up and spent the night and whatever. And they were all piled up in the man cave. And, I made hamburger helper. Like, who makes hamburger helper? I did. I don't know. It felt like a cousin thing, and biscuits and gravy in the morning. And it just was so nice and had my heart so full. I didn't get out of my sweatpants. I didn't try to tell jokes to my sister-in-law. Like, I just showed up and I did, I just did normal life, and it was really relaxing and it was really fun. I think everybody deserves to have people like that in their life. Excuse me. Sorry, my throat's a little catchy. So take this time during this fast to figure out, if your brain likes that. Don't have to do it this way. Obviously, it's not Bible, but figure out what types of relationships that you've got in your life. Jesus had the 12 disciples. He had multitudes following him, but they weren't all invited into that core of his heart into those relationships. And he got to disciple them and listen to them and hear them. And, it's really cool when it's, when it's your mom and your dad and it's your siblings, it's really cool when those are the people. But not everybody has that. If you don't have a local church, try to find somewhere that you can do life with like-minded people that live in your area. I feel very strongly that, again, whatever is coming down the pipe, we're going to need each other in a way that we maybe haven't for a very long time, or at least in our lifetime. And you're going to need to have people that you can call, not just people on social media, people that know your story, people that know your history. So, also when it comes to relationships, one thing that I had written down as I was praying for y'all this morning, and I don't know if this lands or not, but there is a tendency to lead with being a helper when it comes to relationships. So we talked about our boundaries, right? We gave us our little house, and we kind of categorize the people in our lives and say, oh, that is definitely a kitchen friend. They are welcome whenever. I think they're so funny. They bring my favorite macaroni salad and we just sit and laugh, and our kids play they trash the backyard, whatever it is, or, I discipline their kids. Everyone needs those type of people in their lives. But then we've got some of these people that we don't know if they're front porch people or they're living room people. And then you've got some people that you met in a bathroom at a bar 20 years ago, and you're treating them like they're family, and they don't need to know all your business. They don't even need to know where you live. They don't know where you live. So sometimes we do have to kind of guard our mouths from just the people that are gathering information about us, but don't guard off from everyone. I think that that's maturity, when we know kind of how to navigate some of this stuff. And again, we have to hear the Lord. But there's another kind of relationship that is outgoing. It's us and how we interact with others. And it is the helper. If you've ever dealt with rejection, abandonment, and those are the big ones coming to mind. An orphan type spirit. I don't know if that lands for any of you. But if you've ever dealt with your personality that's a massive people pleaser, as we reach out into this authentic space, and it's hard to be authentic everywhere. Okay, so sometimes I just keep my mouth shut. I don't know about you, but I got a lot of opinions. I read a lot. I am super observant, and I've just got a lot of opinions. Not everybody needs to hear that. Take it to the Lord. Take it to the Lord if you want somebody to talk to about, whatever. But there are certain environments that we want to be accepted in. Y'all pray for me. I need to say this. There are certain environments, and again, I know all this from living in this body. There are certain environments we want to be accepted in, so we become a massive helper. And we get in front of God and his will and his timing and his rhythm for our life. So it's not that the space was wrong. It's not that the thing was wrong, but it was that we were being nice and not kind. We were operating outside of God's will in a good way to earn the acceptance of man. And what does that look like? That would then go in this category. We feared more what people would think if we didn't offer our services or help or interject our opinions or agree. We feared more of what people would say than what the Lord was saying. So as the Lord starts to shift some of these relationships, what you got, girl? Is these for you or for me? For me? Oh, thanks, girl. Do you want to say hi? Are you sure? Okay. All right, I do need you to leave though, because I cannot do two things at once. I have to teach or be a mother. I can't do both. I think you're cool. Thanks for my Fruit Loops. You want to make some necklaces or something later? Okay. If y'all don't know, I know some of y'all are trying to do dye-free stuff for your kids. These are Fruit Loops from Aldi's. Don't recommend the plastic, but here we are. These are Fruit Loops from Aldi's. They're super cheap, like a little over $1 for a whole box of cereal. In 4, 3, 2, thank you. But they are dye-free. They're not sugar-free. They're not healthy. They're highly processed, but at least they don't have dyes in them. So they are a great swap out. If she's coming down with something, she can't really have sugar right now. So, necklaces it is. But make sure that as you are walking out the will of God in your life, as you're serving at church, serving your community, serving other people, making friends or shifting friendships and things, that you are not pouring too much of yourself out from an orphan spirit, rejection-minded, fear of abandonment, what other people will think. Make sure you're not pouring out more than you're capable of. And I know some of us have probably, have you seen that meme? It's like, I healed too close to the sun or whatever, and now nobody's calling my phone. Like there is a rhythm to this. I don't really believe in balance anymore in a lot of these areas. There's a rhythm because sometimes the Lord puts his thumb on things, and sometimes he just says stop, so you can kind of like regroup and say, oh, I was doing that. I had no idea. That's why getting off social media and things, I know we're not totally off social media right now, but like, sometimes that break is good, and I never really understood it until I totally stepped off to be like, oh, this isn't real, you know? This is what just people are putting out there. So anyways, make sure we're fearing God as we move forward in our relationships. This is a great time during these 40 days to readjust and to regroup. And this has gotten so long. Thank y'all for being here this morning. We are in chapter 25, I believe. Yes, week 4 and day 4 in our fear of God. I'm trying to rock with this electronic stuff. I feel like I may as well have a chip in my head because I am a paper girl through and through. This has been hard, but thank you, Jason, for my Christmas gift. No obvious benefit. This one lands perfectly with what we were talking about with authenticity. It is obeying God. I think if we're going to be authentic, we have to be totally okay to obey God. For a very long time, I was confused. I was very confused about probably the first 3 to 5 years I was saved. I was confused about what people were talking about when they said, you know, I want to change jobs, or I want to get this car, or I want to get married or whatever, but I want to obey God. And I'm like, chapter and verse, please. Because it wasn't in there. Like their situation wasn't in the Bible. So then what do you do? And, you know, no one is really able to succinctly tell you in like a sentence. I think it's a life lived, and I hope I'm way further next year than I am right now in understanding this. But being able to hear the word of the Lord for yourself, to understand his character, the fullness of his character, to read through scripture and to see the rhythms and the heart of things, and to look at some of the rules that he has set up and his heart behind those rules, that will help you obey God. So a lot of times what happens is we don't talk to God. We don't spend time with him. We're just like around people who do. Or maybe we're not around anyone who does. Maybe we're just like lone rangering this thing. But we think we know God better than we do. We think we're spending more time with God better than we do. We think we love him more than we actually do. We think that he is actually Lord of our lives when he is only Lord of the confession of our faith. And something happens. Someone dies, someone gets sick, you lose a job, houses catch on fire, like something that shakes us to the core passes through our life, and we think we hear the Lord all of a sudden, and you might. But what I find is in the season of now, is in the season of today, put practices into your life that help you get to know the Lord, that you spend time with him, and you hear how he talks to you. On the group me this morning, the girls were talking about the rainbows and things. Anything that he says to you should be able to back up with scripture. They did a beautiful job. If you haven't looked at the group me this morning, look at that. His promises, the covenant. And no matter what we're going through, we know that we can trust him because of the covenant. It's not based on our behavior modification, but somewhere in the mix of being in covenant and loving on him and spending time with him, our behavior does change. But we start to build this trust in him, and we start to forgive quickly because we know the God that we serve, and he's always forgiven us. It's in his character. It's in his nature. So as we obey God, these were the 3 points that John Bevere brought up. Obey God immediately. I don't know if any of y'all have children that are on here live right now, but I guess you do. Hey, my in-laws are on here. Obey immediately. And I have gone back and forth on this because I think it needs a little bit of explanation, especially with younger kids. But immediate obedience is something that we follow in this household, especially when they're little, but always when it applies to safety. My kid's job is to be able to hear my voice in a crowded room. My kid's job is to obey that voice immediately without questioning why. Now, in our society and our culture today, sometimes we have to look at that. And as they've gotten older, well, then y'all have also met Daphne. It's not overly in her wheelhouse. And she probably didn't get spanked as much as she should have. But here we are. Grandparents are on here. You think I spanked her plenty, I'm sure. But immediate obedience is something that the Lord requires. But if you don't know how he talks, and you don't know that other spirits will also talk to you and be very loud and aggressive in your life, we must make sure that we are obeying the voice of the Lord. That's why this study is so special to me, because we can love Jesus like we were talking about earlier all day long. But if we don't understand the fullness of him, and if we don't fear him and have a reverent awe of him and say that he is awesome. We sang that song at church on Sunday. And they just kept saying it. My God is awesome. He's awesome. He's awesome. He's awesome. And I was thinking about this study and being in awe of him, of looking at the sky and looking to a rainbow and just being in awe that he's a promise keeper and he's kept you. Obey God even if it doesn't make sense. When we trust someone as a leader and a Lord, we have to understand that we won't always understand. And if you've ever parented, if you've ever managed a group of people, you know that sometimes it's important to move forward and to get everyone on board, and then things will play out as they will. So immediate obedience, obey God if it doesn't make sense. And this is the most important one for this chapter. Obey God even when you don't see a personal benefit. A lot of times we've preached a gospel in the church, or at least is what I've seen in my lifetime. We've preached a gospel that is beneficial individually to us. I do find the Lord to be a provider. I do find the Lord to be a healer for me personally, for my own body. I do find the Lord to see me individually. I do find the Lord to be a God that wants to see me prosper. What does the scripture say? Even as our soul prospers. I do find the Lord to really create a space to make my life so much better, and better in a worldly sense sometimes. But that is not always how life goes. Life will continue to life. This human experience is not one of of pleasure and comfort, especially when it comes to following the Lord. You know, we're on this path to freedom, okay? But with it, we have to operate within these certain rules and boundaries, just like a marriage. Just like a marriage. Can you do whatever you want in a marriage? Or are you kind of boxed in some ways? In a marriage, there's certain choices that I cannot make and experience it in fullness. There are certain choices that I can't make and get to this point where I've been married, 30, 40 years, and I'm starting to see the benefit of it now. Jason and I were just talking yesterday. There's this interesting space. Jason and I have known each other since we were 19. I'm 42. We got married pretty quickly. Those of y'all who know, I broke covenant and we got divorced pretty quickly, separated about 6 years and back together about, I think it's about 12 now. Y'all know how bad I am in math. And I feel like we're getting to this space this far in. And again, it feels like much more than 12 years. But there's something settling to your soul and this freedom that comes that can never come out of dating around. That could never come out of that type of freedom without following, if you were just not following biblical principles, if you were just out, but that road actually leads to bondage. Whereas following some of these precepts and rules, I'm seeing it. It leads to incredible freedom and enjoyment. But it kind of had to start here. It had to start with us. And the Lord is the same way as he's moving you into this authentic space. And whether you're preaching the gospel at the marketplace or preaching it on social media, you are making new relationships and serving your church and navigating this human experience. If we learn to be authentically us, what comes with that is obeying God, no matter our personal benefit. Because at the end of the day, the gospel is not about us. It benefits you, but it is not about us. So we covered a lot today. We covered health and supplements, some basics of workout. And if you're commenting again, I can't see it again. We're on week 4, day 4, chapter 25, in the awe of God. We're well into week 4 now. We're going all the way to 40 days. And my goal today, other than to charge my watch, all the stuff that I tell you to do, dead as a doornail. My goal for us today was to bring us back to baseline. To give you some wisdom without the witchy stuff when it comes to health. To encourage you, to let you know that you can do it. You just have to start. You're not always going to feel motivated. And the Lord may be putting his thumb on something different for you than he is for me. We've been clearing out a lot of things in our garage, and with that comes a lot of memories. You were singing it? Oh, I want to hear it, April. I love your voice. I see this comment. Maybe I'll just work commenting this time. What was I saying? Squirrel. Oh, with cleaning out things comes a lot of memories. Memories from when the kids were little, memories from people who have passed, or, it's not been easy, and certain things I don't think we're asked to barrel through. So I want you to be kind to yourself. And that's why, you know, the social media has not been gone, but limited. I want to encourage you to stay in the Word and to meditate on it, to make sure your relationships are not distracting to you, to make sure that the food that you're ingesting is actually nourishing your body. To give yourself some grace if your brain doesn't work like some other people's brains. Put some strategies in place. Part of that for me is making sure I have less clutter. Clutter feels like it's in my brain. Clutter in my house feels like it's in my brain. And I tend to pile things and save them for later. But then those piles hold memories. So as much as I want to encourage you and give you a rah, I also want to empathize with you that anytime we tackle something, like how we care for our body and our minds and our relationships, that the enemy is going to attack our view of God. The enemy is going to attack and distract. So be kind to yourself. As much as I want to push you and say, suck it up, it's not that kind of a week. We're 4 weeks in. We're 4 weeks in. Things are serious. You've gotten to the important parts. You've kind of drudged through all, you know, how to grocery shop and maybe even how your schedule lines up. I know we've had a lot of snow here in Metro Atlanta. But let's finish strong. We made it through Quitters Friday so easily. Let's finish strong. And if you're new, catch up with us. You still got like almost 20 days. 15 days. Again, math. Yeah. If I ever talk about homeschooling my kids, just know. We'll be teaching them math. I love y'all so much. If y'all have any questions or if you didn't catch the whole thing, go back and watch the replay. If I can get it on YouTube today with Daphne home, I should be able to. She's been super chill. You can speed it up on YouTube, I believe, so you don't have to listen to me and But yeah, if you've got any questions, a lot of the stuff with the shake and stuff was on the group me and get everything off of Amazon. And again, it's not a have to, it's just a strategy for when you're busy. I know life is busy. I know that we do things so individualistically that we don't have a lot of help. And a lot of the, you know, services and things that, you know, maybe we could hire out and get some help with or third-party assistance, we are doing ourselves. And all of that is okay, but there's structure and there's strategy to be had. So you can get done the things that the Lord is putting his thumb on. Probably not anything else, but the things that the Lord is putting his thumb on. I love y'all. Talk to you soon. Bye.